This is CBC Here and Now.
Iceberg Alley Performance 10 Festival is in its second year, and tonight is the second night. We're going to talk to the organizer and find out who's playing and how it's going. That's coming up.
We're very pleased, but we understand that there are delays. It's not normal.
Long waits and confusing detours as Corner Brook replaces a popular bridge. Just ahead, our Colleen Connors explains what's happening and how people are dealing with it.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Debbie Cooper.
And I'm Carolyn Stokes.
Well, more reaction tonight to the Auditor General's report on potential fraud at the English School District. That report found big problems with financial oversight at the board.
And now the Education Minister is taking action to make sure a situation like this doesn't happen again. But there's also outrage about the past and how all of this could be allowed to happen in the first place.
So CBC's Rob Antle's been following this story and is with us live tonight. So Rob, what is the latest?
Education Minister Al Hawkins is still working his way through the Auditor General's report. But so far, he doesn't like what he sees. The report found indications of fraud at the Facilities Division for the Eastern Region and unusual spending, like a wheelbarrow that cost $735 for just 2 weeks of use.
Totally unacceptable and should never have happened. And that's part of the investigation. And to me, that's certainly criminal in criminal activity when you look at these situations that you could have had better resources and usage of the funding.
The Auditor General was critical of management and the Board of Trustees, saying they didn't take action when previous red flags were raised about financial oversight issues. Hawkins says he's only had preliminary talks with the board about that. At this point, the focus is on following the Auditor General's recommendations and making sure the proper checks and balances are in place going forward.
So Rob, that's the government's reaction to the Auditor General's findings, but what are advocates for the education system saying?
Well, they aren't happy. They want things fixed for the future, but they're also angry about what happened in the past.
Within 15 minutes of the article going public, from the Auditor General's report, our office started receiving phone calls, texts, emails, expressing the same sentiments, total outrage and very, very upset, and asking for answers and very demanding that they want answers and accountability.
Now, all of those answers may be a while coming. The police are investigating, but there's no timeline on when that process will be done. Debbie?
Thanks very much. That's our Rob Antle reporting tonight. Well, you saw Ruby Hoskins there with the Federation of School Councils. I spoke with her earlier, and we'll bring you that interview in the next half hour.
Sheshatshiu RCMP are investigating an early morning fire at a home in Northwest River. The fire destroyed the home and an attached apartment unit. A man and woman were able to escape the home and made it out before emergency crews around 4 o'clock. It's not yet clear how the fire started, but the fire chief says he's seeing a spike in the number of recent fires.
It's darn lucky that everyone made it out. We put our efforts in. Once we've seen how bad the house was on fire, we put our efforts into the building surrounding it. This house had a lot of equipment in the yard as well. This is the second one we've had this summer, and I mean, I've been on the fire department here for pretty much 10 years, and we never get fires. We've had 2 now this year, so.
Police say foul play is not a factor in the disappearance of Daniel Kubelbach. He is the German pop singer who went overboard on a cruise ship off our coast last weekend. Search efforts for the missing 33-year-old have wrapped up, though the investigation remains open. Kubelbach was reported missing from the Aida Luna, that was on early Sunday morning when the vessel was about 200 kilometers north of St. John's. The search included 2 Coast Guard ships, a Canadian Armed Forces helicopter, and a second cruise ship, and was called off Monday after there was no sign of him. Passengers disembarked in Halifax.
Well, the president of Memorial University, Gary Kachanowski, will be stepping down from the job earlier than expected. He was set to finish his second 5-year term in June of 2020. Instead, he'll be wrapping up next December. Kachanowski was first recruited for the top position back in 2010. According to a release issued earlier today, Kachanowski has plans to start teaching as a professor at Memorial. Next month, the Board of Regents will begin the process of replacing the president, and that's expected to take about 12 to 14 months.
The big problem for ponies in Newfoundland, and why we've lost the ponies, so many of them, is that the land that was available to them for pasture, basically open land, was denied to them by rules that said there was no roaming animals allowed.
A new place for the Newfoundland pony. I'm Katie Breen, and I'll take you here coming up.
Well, let's head now to the Carolina coast, where many are boarding up and preparing to flee from Florence. The outer bands of Hurricane Florence have arrived. The storm is now pummeling the coast with rain and tropical storm force winds. Florence is now a Category 2 storm, but officials are warning residents not to let their guard down. The hurricane is still strong enough to power waves as high as 4 meters and drench some areas with up to 1 meter of rain. North Carolina's governor is warning people to not take it lightly.
My message today: don't relax. Don't get complacent. Stay on guard. This is a powerful storm that can kill. Today, the threat becomes a reality. Get yourself to a safe place and stay there if you haven't already. Over the next few hours, many roads will become unsafe and impassable from debris and flood waters. Don't drive during the peak of the storm, and don't attempt to drive through flooded roads.
Well, here's a look at where the hurricane is now and where it's headed over the next couple of days. The center of Florence is expected to make landfall early tomorrow. The storm has gotten bigger. Officials say it has the potential to cause catastrophic damage.
Be moving at great velocity as it comes here, but also will be moving across the ground at a slow rate, which means all this rain is going to be here for about 2 days. Starting.
Many of you have been placed under evacuation, and we are asking citizens to please heed a warning. Your time is running out. The ocean is going to start rising along the coast and in the Back Bay and inlet areas and the Sound areas within a matter of hours. Your time to get out of those areas and storm surge inundation is coming to a close.
To Corner Brook now, where road closures have caused delays and long commutes for drivers this evening. And if you live in the West Coast city, you may have been late getting home from work. The construction delays stem from a massive road closure on Main Street, and that's where Here Now's Colleen Connors is tonight. She joins us live. So, Colleen, what's going on?
Well, Debbie, I'm standing right in the middle of Main Street tonight, which, of course, like you said, would usually be very busy this time of the evening. But if you can see behind me, there's this massive road closure happening and a huge crater in the middle of the road. That's where this old bridge used to be. It was built in 1957. It desperately needed to be replaced, so they tore it up and they're replacing it with a brand new bridge, which is just behind me over here. They're going to move it over. So this huge construction site means that this massive main route downtown is closed off. So people are commuting and detouring all around the middle of the city. And that's causing a lot of delays and detours in the city. When I was out in it today, I noticed a lot of people talking about the long waits. So a commute that would usually take something like 5 to 10 minutes, well, now it's close to 10 or 15 minutes. So people are, trying to get used to these long delays. There has been a few accidents happening, but nothing too serious to report. And the city is working really hard on adjusting these very difficult commutes, and they're adjusting it by doing things like adding more time to the lights. So if you're turning or trying to get through, then those lights hopefully will last a little longer. They even added an extra double turning lane, the first in Corner Brook, hoping to help with these detours. And I tried out that double lane today, and it does work. It just takes a little bit of patience. Here's what the city had to say about it all.
Please be safe out there. Don't cause more problems. We've had a couple of reports of folks blocking intersections because they're trying to get through. We'd like to see people not do that because it really holds up a lot of other people. Again, be careful using the detours, follow the signs. And some advice I always give people is maybe leave a little earlier, leave a little later, work it out, so maybe a little bit of flex time there. So there are some things people can do, but we're really happy with the way things are going right now.
So while this major construction happens, especially behind me here, you know, the city is saying that it may take some adjustments when you're driving to and from work. And of course, you also need a lot of patience, especially this hour.
A big dose of patience for sure. So Colleen, how long will the construction and delays continue?
Well, this new bridge should be installed in about 7 weeks. So that would take us to mid-October. Now the city is hopeful that it will take us 7 weeks. It's a 7-week project to get that bridge moved over to this new location. But of course, there's always hiccups and some things always do happen. So the goal, of course, is to get this done before there's any snow on the ground. Live in Corner Brook tonight, I'm Colleen Connors for Here and Now.
Now to Humboldt, Saskatchewan. It was a night of looking back and moving forward. Last night, the Humboldt Broncos honored the lives of those lost in April's bus crash as players dropped the puck on a new hockey season. Bridget Yard was in the arena for the game and the tributes.
There were so many tributes in this game, from the inclusion of the Broncos logo on the helmets of the Nipawin Hawks to the puck drop at the beginning to the moment of silence. There really was a lot going on, even without the hockey happening. But after the game, an even bigger tribute, one that marks a new beginning for the team. All of the players who died in the April 6th crash have had their jerseys retired. And not just that, every player who played on that team last year will also have their jerseys retired so that the team will be together forever. That's what organizers said. Braden Cameron and Derek Patters, the two returning players, will also have their jerseys retired when they're finished with this new team. But there have been many difficult moments for this team, including the opening ceremony. It was very emotional. Here's the head coach, Nathan Oystrick.
It was emotional, as I'm sure it was for everyone else, but battled through it. I think the guys did a really good job. You know, I said it the other day that once the puck drops, you know, the guys knew what they had to do. So it wasn't great, but it wasn't, we battled through it.
Like Oystrick says, people are getting through it, whatever way they can. To some, that means looking to the future. Even coming into Humboldt, there's a billboard that used to say, "Our prayers go out to the Humboldt Broncos." Now it says, "Go Humboldt, go." So moving forward, the team's focus is on the hockey season. Their rivalry with the Nipawin Hawks has been reignited. They're ready to play, and the eyes of the country are still on them. But they're really ready to take some time away from the media and get back to playing hockey. Bridget Yard, CBC News, Humboldt.
Back to this province now, where the provincial government signed over Crown land in Hopewell. It's all about finding a new place for the Newfoundland pony. Here Now's Katie Breen reports.
Cliff George grew up around Newfoundland ponies in their heyday, when they were hardy work animals needed for survival. But over his lifetime, he watched the breed dwindle. Companies started buying them for meat, and he had to step in.
Geez, we bought all the ponies from the people that were putting them on the trucks that we could buy. You know, Mr. Hughes wanted me to slash stars on the meat trucks. I said, no, but I'm not going that far. I said, I'm not going that far. But we did get the law passed to protect Newfoundland ponies from the meat trade.
In the 90s, there were just 100 breedable animals. But since then, through the efforts of people like George, there are about 500 ponies registered in Canada and the States. Today, something new he hopes will help. An old horse sanctuary on Crown land, now leased to the Newfoundland Pony Society for 50 years.
And so begins a brand new legacy of a future heritage park.
25 acres in Hopewell. A little rusty, but workable.
The idea would be that we would be growing hay here. People could have access to the hay, but it could also be a place if there's a pony in distress where we could, and someone needed a place for a pony for a while.
The hay has to be cut back, the barn fixed up, and electricity brought in. But it's a pony pasture, closer to what the animal was used to before so many fences went up.
What do I see in them? Love for my generations and the people past. But I always think about this. Well, you're talking about saving the pony. Really, you got to make sure they're around safe.
Ponies as distinct as the place they were named after. But now, with all of this land, the people here today hope the animal can thrive again. Katie Breen, CBC News, Hope All.
People are starting to arrive here at the Iceberg Alley Performance Tent. It may be raining in St. John's, but it's nice and dry in here. We'll have an update from the tent coming up.
Some volunteers inducted into the Provincial Volunteer Hall of Fame today. The Hall of Fame recognizes people who give up their time to help others. Among the 6 new names today is Margaret "Mugs" Thibault. She's devoted her time to making sports more inclusive for people with disabilities. She's worked with the Winter Paralympics and other parasports. She also introduced para ice hockey to the province.
Seeing a young person become part of a team, to be active, to represent their school or their community in a sport, or go on to represent the province or even the country of Canada, is just so, I guess, rewarding for me. And the fact that they've been able to reach their potential is something that I guess I can take some pride in saying, well, gee, I guess I did help them a little bit to get where they wanted to go.
so nice to see those volunteers recognized. They never want any attention, but we really need them and appreciate them, so congratulations.
And before we get to the weather, Debbie, you have a really nice photo to share with us.
I do. An acquaintance of mine sent this picture to me. A friend of hers came across this scene, the Bidgoods Trail. And with all those colors and that lemonade stand, you can guess it's a tribute to little Nevaeh Denine.
Oh, how nice. So I guess that's still there if people are walking by. They should keep their eyes peeled for it.
And of course, Nevaeh made such a mark on this province, didn't she? She helped raise so much money as she fought her battle with cancer and died just recently at the age of 9. But so if you're out in the park, you'll have a nice moment to look at that and reflect on Nevaeh.
Yeah, she made an impact and continues to make an impact.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that was Lisa Courtney that sent us that photo?
Indeed.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lisa. Well, before we get to the weather coming up, I wanted to have a little look back at the weather yesterday because the rain was so torrential yesterday. So I wanted to start with some rainfall totals. This is what we were looking at yesterday. The east actually got the worst of it all. Greens Harbor, that got almost 84 millimeters of rain, and all of this came down in a very, very short period of time. St. John's East, almost 71 millimeters. St. John's Airport reported almost 59 millimeters of rain. So yeah, it was a wet one yesterday for sure. So tonight, things are looking much clearer on the island. We do have a few showers, a little bit of cloud cover there. Labrador looking fairly clear overnight, but we do have the system that will be moving in tomorrow that will have a really big effect on northern Labrador. So overnight tonight, mostly cloudy in the St. John's area, an overnight low of 10 degrees, a chance of maybe a shower or two in central areas, and 7 degrees as the overnight low for Grand Falls, Windsor, and some light northerly winds as well. For Labrador, looking pretty clear, pretty chilly too. Temperatures ranging between 2 and 5 degrees. So yeah, it's a cool one for sure. And look at this. This is what's heading towards Nain for tomorrow morning. You can see that snow and pretty heavy rain, actually. So it's going to be a very messy start to the day for Nain tomorrow. And also other parts of Labrador should see some of that as well. Happy Valley Goose Bay could see an early morning shower, as well as Lab West. So for the rest of the province, this is what we're looking at. Mainly cloudy day for St. John's. Tomorrow is going to be very similar to today. A little bit on the cool side, light winds and a lot of cloud. Along the coast, slightly warmer, 16 degrees as the high. And as we move towards central areas, things do warm up a little bit. 17 degrees as the high in Gander tomorrow with some cloudy skies. Clearing though as we head towards the west coast. 21 degrees for Corner Brook tomorrow with a mix of sun and cloud. And up along the northern peninsula, Mary's Harbor looking at about 14 degrees. And St. Anthony looking pretty good tomorrow, 17 degrees as the high. But that area tomorrow night is going to be getting a lot of wind. So brace yourself for that. Looking at winds gusting up to about 80 right now. So we'll see how that plays out tomorrow and whether there's going to be a wind warning put in place. Yes, and for Nain, 20 to 30 millimeters of rain, and that will be mixed with some snow tomorrow, 3 degrees as the high. But look at the difference between the temperature in Nain and Happy Valley Goose Bay. Quite the difference. 23 degrees in Happy Valley Goose Bay, 24 degrees in Lab City with the chance of some early morning showers. So looking at a nice day shaping up there as that system starts to clear out. But yeah, Nain, you're in for quite a messy one tomorrow. That's your forecast, Debbie. Back to you.
Thanks, Carolyn. Well, it is the second night of the Iceberg Alley performance, Tent by Kitty Bitty. Tonight, fans can take in the music of Mick Davis, 5440, and Big Wreck. And you know, the doors have just opened up, and of course, our Jeremy Eaton is already down by the stage. Jeremy, can you hear me?
Yeah, Debbie's a little bit loud here. People are starting to pile. As soon as the doors open up at 6, people started coming through the doors, so they're getting ready for a big night. It may be a little bit wet outside, but it's nice and dry inside. But this man, Seamus O'Keefe, knows a lot more about this festival than I do. Seamus, I got to ask you right off the top, Had a lot of rain in the city of St. John's yesterday. Did it affect the tent down here?
It's a little bit of puddling, but we were bone dry once the show started, and a great time was held by all. So no real impact being in a tent.
So it's the second year that this festival has been underway. Is it easier the second time around trying to get it all together and all organized?
100%. Probably what took us 3 months last year took us 3 weeks this year to get from start to finish to where we are here tonight.
Now, a lot of people are wondering, the tent and all the stuff that we see here behind us. Where do you find that? Is it locally? Do you bring it in, or?
Mostly all local suppliers. The tent itself is actually found in London, England. It used to be Disney on Ice, and then when 9/11 came, it became available. So no, all local suppliers, all local vendors. Some of the acts obviously are from away, but they share the stage with local artists as well.
Now let's talk about some of the acts. Debbie just talked about it. It's 5440 and Big Record playing tonight. Who are some of the other big names that people can see over the 10-day festival?
Yeah, no, it's as you can imagine, programming a 10-day festival takes a little bit of creativity. You don't have the same pool to draw from. So different genres, Billy Talent. We're looking forward to Alan Doyle playing the local boys gone well and come home. So Saturday night will be fun here in the tent. We've got Dallas Smith, Country Western, Matt Mays, some good old rock and roll. So a little bit here for everybody.
And so what's the sort of capacity here, and what have ticket sales been like so far, Seamus?
Once people get in here for once, it is a bit of a wow factor, and they tend to come back. It's a 25,000 square foot tent with over capacity for about 2,600 people. And then we have about 200 people here working tonight, so ticket sales has been strong.
Now before we came and chatted to you, you took us and showed us something new this year. Can you talk about the VIP suites real quick?
Yeah, it's a key learning for us. It's something we never had in this year. We never had the ability to host a corporate client, so we built 2 side stage suites, which are a pretty unique vantage point. You're looking down on top of the band, and we sell them to corporations.
Well, Seamus, I know you're a busy man, so thanks a lot for your time. We appreciate it. And that's it for me right now, but I'll be back later on the show to talk about Mick Davis and his band who are playing. Reporting live for Here and Now, I'm Jeremy Eaton in St. John's.
Lots of sore arms today after last night's Gynae push-up challenge for mental health. And that's where Jeremy was last night. They raised $6,000 and there's still more money coming in thanks to online donations.
It was all started by Bill and Susan Gynae 3 years ago. Proceeds go to the local chapter of the Canadian Mental Health Association. And they're already planning next year's event.
Oh, Fred. Mind if I interrupt your game for a moment?
What are you doing here? How's it going?
So, you're not getting enough exercise on the campaign trail?
Well, coming up, the Liberal candidate for Windsor Lake is serving up
his secret to de-stressing. That's ahead.
Hey Fred, what you doing?
Not too much, just on my phone. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Is that another phone I see there?
Oh, no. All right, it is. But you have to be connected these days. That's why we're wondering, could people actually stay off their phones for an entire day? Tomorrow on the St. John's Morning Show, a couple of students are going to take that challenge, and we're wondering if you can as well. It's all part of hashtag NL Phone Free. Sorry, I've got to take this. Hello, it's Fred.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Residents of the Windsor Lake District can vote in a by-election advance poll today until 8 o'clock tonight. Voting is taking place at McDonald Drive Junior High and Roncalli Elementary School. A second advance polling day will be held on Saturday at the same locations. The by-election will be on Thursday, September 20th. In order to vote, you must be at least 18 years of age, a Canadian citizen, a resident of the province and of the District of Windsor Lake.
Speaking of that by-election, time now for the third and final installment of our profiles of the Windsor Lake candidates. So far, the St. John's Morning Show's Chrissy Holmes and Fred Hutton have been at the shooting range with the PC's Chess Crosby, blueberry picking with Carrie Claire Neal of the NDP, and tonight it's tennis with Liberal candidate Paul Antle.
Hello, Fred. Mind if I interrupt your game for a moment?
What are you doing here?
Good to see you. Well,
how's it going?
So, you're not getting enough exercise on the campaign trail?
I don't know, 10 or 15,000 steps a day is just not enough.
You got to get a few more here?
A few extra, yeah.
Okay, so is this one of your regular haunts?
Yes, usually once or twice a week, early in the morning.
Yeah.
I'll come and I'll just hit balls with Jack for an hour, get the heart rate up, you know, make sure things are clear.
Is he taking it easy on me?
No, well, yes, he is.
Yeah, well, let's see how your interviewing skills are, Jack. Do you have a defibrillator here?
Yes, we do, Fred.
Okay, I may need one. Are you thinking about the election now, Paul?
No.
I mean, right now.
I'm thinking about hitting the ball to Jack and keeping it in play. That's the great thing about these sports, whether it's curling, golf, hiking, weightlifting, whatever it is, you just forget about all that stuff that's going on. You just focus on this, and it's a stress reliever.
Did you ever think about leaving?
Yes, I have.
Why?
And who hasn't?
And what kept you here?
This is where I'm from, man, and I was born and raised here. No one ever wants to leave forever. A lot of our community has left, and some get planted and rooted somewhere else, and they never come home. I love it here. This place is awesome. This place it defined us. This is who we are. I don't want to leave it. But, you know, if it comes down to not being able to afford to stay and not giving our kids the life that they deserve, sure, I have to think about them. But I chose to step into the political ring because I want to help. I want to make this place a better place to live, and I think I can help do that.
You grew up in a fairly modest household. Your dad ended up owning Antles Irving. Everybody in St. John's is probably familiar with that. Now it's beyond.
Yeah, my dad was a great guy. He taught me a lot about integrity and honor and how to treat people, you know, how to work hard. My dad taught me a lot of great things. My dad had a grade 7 education, and he worked like a dog, sometimes 3 jobs at once to get us, you know, in a comfortable position.
Is that where the fear came from? You didn't want to have to
Well,
I
just wanted more in my life. And when you put your hand at something, I guess I'm competitive with myself. I can sometimes be competitive in sports, but that's natural. But nobody wants to lose. So when that fear comes to the rise, that you know, hey, I haven't really accomplished this, or there's a possibility that I'm not going to be able to do this, it drives me harder. And I'm a problem solver. I've always found a way to get it done, to find that solution that works for everyone. And it's worked throughout my whole life, and I listen to it more now. So I've been able to hone that skill, and I want to put it to work for the province. Yeah! Winner, winner, chicken dinner!
Breaking the rules, the province's school councils react to the Auditor General's scathing report into spending at the Eastern School District. There's shock and outrage in some quarters over the Auditor General's damning report about inappropriate and potentially fraudulent spending by the Eastern School District. Now, the reaction is especially strong from school councils. Auditor General Julie Mullally released her report yesterday, and she found that school board employees broke tendering rules, accepted inappropriate gifts, charged taxpayers for personal items, and kept poor records. Ruby Hoskins is with the Provincial Federation of School Councils, representing many parents and volunteers across the province. She's in Marystown. Well, Ruby Hoskins, how would you describe your initial reaction when you read this report?
When I read the article when it came out first, I was totally shocked by its contents and just reading excerpts of information from the article. But in further reading the entire Auditor General's report, it was total outrage to see that this had taken place in the English School District and for the number of years that this had went on.
Now, I understand it didn't take you very long to start hearing from parents and volunteers. What are they saying?
Within 15 minutes of the article going public from the Auditor General's report, our office started receiving phone calls, texts, emails, expressing the same sentiments, total outrage and very, very upset, and asking for answers and very demanding that they want answers and accountability, which has been provided by some of the information in the report, but not to the extent that school councils are willing to accept.
This must be pretty galling, given some of the challenges that councils face. You know, they volunteer, they fundraise. Is that part of the anger?
It's part of the anger. You have school councils across the province that fundraise almost on a daily basis for school trips, for school necessities, even photocopying paper. And there's very stringent and protocols and policies in place for school administrations and teachers to follow. So it's very disappointing to see that this, I guess, lack of internal controls at the English School District office, took place over the last 5 years that we're aware of, and to such an extent that it did.
So that's what's most egregious for you, the money and lack of fiscal oversight, and the fact that these issues were flagged 5 years ago.
They were, and apparently unethical behavior was reported to the English School District in 2013 and 2015, and it went unanswered. And even, I think one of the biggest things from the report that has been really, I guess, had the biggest impact for me, there was 778 invoices paid without any purchase orders in this 5-year period. 734 of those invoices, totaling $2.6 million, had no receipts for goods provided. So that's just one incident, $2.6 million, which is no accountability for this. And the audit only focused on the procurement issues for the facilities branch of the English School District. And this branch is monitored, supported, and funded by the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development. And if you read on further in the report, an employee at the government agency, the Department of Education, received free tires. So it's not only the English School District that has to be held accountable. We're across the province is anxiously awaiting to hear the government's response on this.
Well, what do you think is needed now? I mean, police are involved, but is that enough?
I don't think that's going to rebuild that trust that has been stripped away for school councils and for taxpayers in the province. People are demanding accountability and transparency, but they want answers, not just an Auditor General's report. Is this problem isolated to the facilities branch of the English School District, or is it systemic, and does it go into overlap into other areas like travel expenses? So people are asking that a complete forensic audit be done at the English School District and within the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development.
Ruby Hoskins, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Debbie, for the opportunity.
Well, it's an outdoor event in St. John's, but it doesn't matter what the weather holds because of the great big tent covering the stage down at Kitty Vitty. Here now's Jeremy Eaton is down at the Iceberg Alley Performance Tent right now, where the music is just minutes away from striking a chord with the audience. So, Jeremy, how's it going down there?
Well, as you can probably see, that's Mick Davis and his band Thin Love. They're a few minutes ahead of schedule, so they just started playing. They're going to be the first of 3 acts that will play tonight. It's very loud, so I'm going to have to cover my ears so I can hear you guys. So they'll play, and then a band 5440 will play, a well-known Canadian band, and then you're going to see Big Wreck. Now, we were talking with Seamus earlier, and one of the beauties about an event like this is that after all the rain that we had yesterday and some of the rain that's falling now in St. John's, everybody's going to have dry feet because they have about $80,000 worth of plywood on that floor to keep everybody dry. Now, you can't see it from our vantage points, but actually, sorry, let me start some stuff. Remember that VIP area that James was talking about? That's where we're standing now. This is the view that you're seeing is from that VIP area. Me and Ted Dillon, the cameraman, we're not VIPs at all, but we managed to get up here. So other than the music and some adult beverages, there are a lot of food trucks. There's a number of different vendors here who are selling food. So you can get your eat on, you can have a drink if you need to, and you can take in a lot of live music. Now, this is the second of 10 nights that is going to run all this week. One of the biggest and more popular nights, as Seamus O'Keefe told us, will be Alan Doyle, who plays Saturday night. And then a week from that, there's going to be a big night where Matt Mays and a band called The Truth, some good Atlantic Canadian talents, will be playing. And Ted Dillon and I are probably going to take this in for a little bit, so we're going to throw it back to you. So, reporting live from the Iceberg Alley Performance Tent in St. John's, I'm Jeremy Eaton from here.
Thanks so much, Jeremy. And what a unique venue that is.
It's massive.
What do you think? Jeremy and Ted Dillon, I think they're VIPs.
Oh, definitely. For sure. But yeah, it looks like a pretty cool event. Yeah. Thanks, Jeremy.
Importance of not really relying on motivation rather than discipline. So instead of thinking, I can't go to the gym today, you need to reset your mind frame.
September is one of the busiest months at gyms, second only to January.
Once you've made the decision to work out, how do you stay motivated? We'll talk about that coming up. welcome back, and welcome back to you, Debbie.
Thank you
We
very
all missed
much.
you. You were off for a while,
That's
and
nice.
everyone was asking, where's Debbie?
I know, and I didn't really publicize it, but I will now because I sent you a picture to let everybody know what happened to me.
Oh, dear.
Flip-flops and jumping puddles do not mix well. That could happen in an instant, and it did. And anyway, I'm just about recovered, and I'm very happy to be back and to be rid of that boot.
Yeah, I bet. How are you feeling now?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's have a look at the forecast because we're this close to the weekend now. So I'm going to have a start here with looking at some temperatures. The highs today across the province got up to 14 degrees in St. John's today, but Central looking fantastic. 25 there in Badger, 23 in Corner Brook, Makovic 19. Things are going to be taking a bit of a turn there tomorrow for sure. So we do have a system pushing through northern Labrador tomorrow. So Nain and Makovic, you're going to be feeling that, but mostly Nain with some rain mixed with some snow. It's not going to be pretty, and it's going to be chilly. The rest of the province looking pretty good, particularly the island. A bit of cloud cover for the eastern portion of the island. 12 degrees as the high in St. John's tomorrow, so it's not going to be super warm, but it shouldn't be raining or anything like that. In central areas, 18, 17 degrees, warmer for the west coast. And light easterly wind there. Lots of sunshine for the Port aux Basques area. St. Anthony looking at 17 degrees as the high for tomorrow. So Nain is expecting about 20 to 30 millimeters of rain. That'll be mixed with snow, so it is going to be quite messy. Makovic going to see mostly rain from that system. And Happy Valley, Goose Bay, Lab City could see a few light showers as well. Lab City in the morning. And temperatures looking great there. 24 degrees in western Labrador. A bit breezy there along the coast. Southwesterly winds 30 gusting to 50 for the Cartwright Straits area. So Friday night, we are looking at some really heavy winds for the northern peninsula. So Port aux Choix, St. Anthony, it's going to be gusting. Forecast is calling for up to 80 kilometers an hour now. So make note of that if you're heading out on Friday night. Saturday looking fantastic. A chance of some early morning showers there. Labrador looking at some showers on Saturday, but the island is just looking fantastic on Saturday. So if you have any plans to go outdoors, we're looking at 21 degrees and sun and cloud in St. John's, 26 in Central, 23 in the West Coast. So really, really nice. So there are those showers for Labrador, but the eastern portion looking at 21 degrees as the high there. So Saturday night, some showers for the very tip of the northern peninsula there, but that should start to clear off. And as we head into Sunday, looking at a few showers there, but also clearing in the afternoon. So it's not going to be as warm as it was on Saturday, but still not too bad. Just below the 20-degree mark for the west and central, 16 for the east, and cloudy and a really big dip in the temperatures for western Labrador, 9 degrees there. So this is your outlook for the next 5 days. Weekend looking great, but then we move into some showers as you begin the work week. Similar story for central Newfoundland, a few showers and cloud moving in, and temperatures taking quite a dive as we head into the week, into the mid-teens, down from the 20s for the western portion of the island, and as well for eastern Labrador. Things really cooling down as we head into the week with some showers. And for western Labrador, a very similar story. And look, an overnight low of -1. Here we go. And that's your forecast. Debbie, back to you.
Thanks, Carolyn. Well, with the warm weather starting to wind down, many are looking to shake off the dog days of summer and get back into shape. Gyms across the country are bracing for one of the busiest times of the year. And our Jeremy Eden swung by one such gym on Torbay Road.
I'd say September is the second busiest month of the year, obviously behind January with the New Year's resolutions. We got a lot of people coming back to school and to work and stuff, so it's definitely picks up a lot here. The first thing that I try to get people to do is to not need me as a personal trainer, so I teach them all the basics that I can, I stick with the basics and then try to avoid complicated movements for now. Make sure that you're nice and level, and then you're going to jump up with your hands over your head. So it's here, down, and then up. So we're not going to do the push-up for now. So the big thing that I try to tell people is about mobility, right? So being able to move your body comfortably through all the ranges of motion, that's going to set you up for success with pretty much everything else you do. So that's a big one.
Intimidation is something that comes to mind when people think of going to the gym as they're not gym goers. How do you sort of ease them into that transition from saying the gym is a scary place to making the gym not so scary?
I try to make them try to help them have fun with it, right? So I see it all the time where people are kind of afraid to use the weights, that they're feeling a bit self-conscious. You just start off small, right? So we do have private rooms here where you can do your exercises alone, and then just build up that confidence with time there.
Is there any way you can trick yourself when you're working out, or any sort of tricks that you might have to make the time on, say, an elliptical machine or a treadmill seem a lot shorter than it actually is?
Yeah, the biggest one that I would say is trying to not really rely on motivation, but rather than discipline. So instead of saying, I can't do this extra 7 minutes on the elliptical, you need to reframe yourself where you say, I don't miss my workouts, or I don't miss my cardio workouts. Just like this, your elbow should be underneath your shoulders. Make sure that your shoulder blades are squeezed back and then down. And then all you need to do from here is contract your stomach and your core at the same time, and make sure that your shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles are in a straight line. I always tell people that the hardest thing about the gym is actually getting to the gym. So even if you try to make it for 20 minutes or even 10 minutes just to get here, then eventually you're going to start to build that as a habit. Then it's just going to be easier and easier. Try to add maybe 10 minutes a week, and then eventually it's just going to be simple. And keep going. Right there should be good. You should be able to wiggle your toes. Make sure that you're not too far on your toes. And imagine that you're pushing yourself into the wall.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And with your hands, you don't want to be pressing on your legs. That makes it a bit easier, so just nice and relaxed.
There's nothing relaxing about this.
No, not really.
Well, this is relaxing, a relaxing view. We had all that rain yesterday, and what comes after rain but a rainbow, in this case a double rainbow. This is our viewer photo of the day. Isn't it beautiful?
It is stunning. Was that taken yesterday? Do you know?
No, it was not. I think it was taken a couple of days ago.
Because I saw double rainbow like that coming into town on Sunday.
Yes.
And all that rain just, anyway,
Yeah,
not far from town.
We did have a photo on Monday, I think, from that.
Oh,
Lots of rainbow shots this week. Yeah. Love this one. I'll tell you where in the province this was taken after the break.
Well, there's been an unusual sighting among whales in the St. Lawrence River. Just have a look.
This is a narwhal swimming among a pod of belugas. Oh, okay, the black one.
Oh, wow.
In there. Oh, there, you can see it much better there. Wow. This footage was captured by a Quebec nonprofit group.
Narwhals typically live in the Arctic, but this one seems to have found pretty good company. Must be lost and found some company.
Yeah.
About the same size.
Buddies.
Yeah.
And
anyway.
Yeah.
Always
like
nice.
Black swan of the. It's the black swan among the white swans.
Just what I was thinking. Anyway.
Well, and speaking of color, we have this great shot of a rainbow. So many shots sent in to us over this past week, and I'll give you a hint as to where this is. Those rocks are angry. It's in the east, and those rocks are angry. What do I mean by that?
So, I don't know.
You'll see, Mad Rocks.
My first day back, it's not all, clicking on all
It was taken at Mad Rocks near Bay Roberts.
Yeah,
so
beautiful.
Great shot.
And I tried to take pictures of the ones that I saw the other day, but didn't get a very good look. But it was the most brilliantly colored rainbows I've ever seen. So they never get old.
Yeah, and thank you very much, Richie Perez, for sending this in. And if you guys have a photo out there, please send it to me, nlphotos@cbc.ca.
That's our show. Thank you very much for being with us, and I'm glad to be with you and you. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Good night, everyone.
Good night.